Good afternoon, ladies and gents. It's the 2nd of July, 2025. And as you'll see from the thumbnail, I just wanted to highlight the severity of what's going on at the moment, what is happening, and just want to point out some blatant and obvious signs and just try and emphasize what the hell is happening here. I'm going to just take up 5 minutes of your time, guys. So there's not going to be much content. I'm just going to rattle through this. This is going to be really quick. Whether you live in the UK, actually, I'm just going to bring up a browser, to be honest with you, because we need to have a look at something here. Whether you live in the UK or anywhere in Europe right now, if you or anyone you know, because let's face it, you will definitely know people that aren't aware or are aware, but not concerned, or they may be thinking about what's happening off the back of what they read in the paper online or from a mate in the pub, but still choose to brush off brush off this information as nonsense. Right now, guys, there's people in the UK, EU, Europe, and NATO, which are a regional collective. They are preparing for war with Russia, guys. Now, people out there should really start taking this shit seriously, unless, of course, you just simply don't give a shit about yourselves and for those that you're responsible for. I'm going to keep this short, so short. I'm just not even going to have time to bother with loads of the visual content. I am going to throw up 3 pages, and that's it. Just 3 things out of a very long list of signs and signals now being drip fed into the UK population, that is, and just presented to, well, not just the UK, it's going to be European population as well. Whilst everyone in the UK are moaning about this so-called extreme weather, which is better known as the summer, Europe are preparing for all-out war with Russia. Just 3 signs, I said at the very beginning. So let's just go through those. I'm just going to mention number one. Let's just throw it up here. Let's just see what it's saying. Bosh. Right. Okay. So the UK and NATO are on a war footing. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what that means, because we were told by Richie Sunak here in the UK last year that the UK and Europe are on a war footing. Yeah. So on a war footing means being in a state of readiness for war or intense conflict, often involving significant mobilization of resources and a heightened sense of urgency. I'm not going to go into this, what the literal meaning or anything like that. Just understand what that means, okay? So we've been told by our government that the country is on a war footing. Yep, okay. But that's sign number one, which, people need to kind of be listening to. Number two, 450 million Europeans told to prepare by the EU. So the European Union is home to approximately 450 million people. Let me just put to prepare. Okay, so the UK, the EU tells 450 million people to stockpile 72 hours of emergency kit. Okay, that's it. I'm not going to go into that anymore. This is the EU. Okay, so this is not that silly idiot Starmer or Sunak or any of those. This is the EU. I mean, they're all as bad as each other. But when the idiots are telling you to start preparing, then you know something's up. Okay, so that's number two. Okay, so the UK, NATO are on a war footing. Secondly, 450 million Europeans are being told to prepare. Yeah. Then we've got. This has just been announced over the last 4 days, I think. The testing of the emergency alert system. Okay, I'm going to bang this in actually and do it this way because I want to go straight to mobile operators. Okay, so this is, let's get off of those. Mobile operators to test UK-wide emergency alerts later on this year. I'm not guys, and the UK's the reason for doing this is something to do with floods and fires. Okay, that's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. Okay, we know about floods and fires and stuff like that. We don't get forest fires and stuff like that on the scale of other countries. And anyway, it's shit. Okay. That's just rubbish. So don't even listen to that. They are preparing you for war. Okay. So that's the reason why they're testing this alert system. They want to see how people react, see what the feedback is, see what people say on social media, online and everywhere else. And la, 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 la. Okay. The bottom line is no one's taking any of this seriously. Okay. So that's the sort of feedback that they will gather in terms of data collection when they're looking at statistics and stuff like that. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm struggling to understand the 85%, the sheep, the NPCs, or the normalcy bias lot. I'm without a doubt struggling to understand why so many people aren't seeing what is happening. And it's not because I know these people. Well, to be honest, I do actually know a lot of these. But I'm concerned for them and their families if the shit hits the fan. The overwhelming stress and pain each and every one of them are going to go through. It's going to be unprecedented if that all pops off, you know. Actually, can I just add a couple more items to that list of three? And then we're finished. Okay, I promise. I said it would be quick, but there's a couple of other things that have kind of propped up. So on top of the UK and NATO war footing, the 450 million European preparedness, or the 450 million Europeans that should be preparing with an emergency 72-hour emergency pack, and the UK National Emergency Alert System test at some point this year. I just want to add these two other points. The UK government's let me see if I can bring this up. Again, people are talking about this. This is in the UK, guys. Let's just come out of here. Let's bring it up quickly. Right. Okay. So the UK government's national security has just released a document titled the Strategic Defence Review 2025 or 2025. I'm not going to go into this. What I'm going to do, it's a 144-page document. I've seen a couple of videos out there. People sort of touch on bits and pieces, but they haven't really analysed what it's saying and really delved into it in any kind of detail. So I'm not going to comment right now until I've actually read through 144 pages, and I'll do a separate video condensing and summarising my findings and just let you guys know what the important points that you should be taking away from it. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so that's the UK government's national security division releasing this document. When you go through this document, all they're telling you, not all they're telling you, that the emphasis is the UK preparing for war. Okay, that's that. And lastly, I urge any of you, if you're out on YouTube, which you are if you're watching this content, but if you've got some time, okay, just do a search for. Let me just show you actually. This is going to be, let me just bring this up. Yeah, okay, right. So it's the war, it's not this war game. Let me just put Sky War Game. Sorry. Again, there's a couple of channels out there. They've done videos on this. Now, I'm just going to urge you to search for this. Just search the war game. It's published by Sky News and Tortius on YouTube. As you can see, there are 5 episodes to watch. And long story short, guys, Sky have created a war game scenario whereby the UK comes under attack in different forms, and the events are sort of played out in real time. There are members of government or ex-members of government in the COBRA meetings discussing and making those sort of critical decisions you and I will never hear about, as well as other tier 1 advisors and military generals and staff on these videos, discussing, you know, what's going on and what they need to do and how prepared or unprepared the UK is. You'll hear the responses from both the UK government and also the enemy's government, obviously played, but in this case, the enemy is Russia. So just search out, just jump onto YouTube, search war game, and if you've got time, there's nothing visual really. It's kind of background stuff, but it's really interesting to listen to kind of what's being said. But the question we'll go back to is, why are they bringing this war game out now for the public to listen to? Remember, guys, I've said for the longest time now that both the UK government and mainstream news, they work alongside each other. They definitely don't always agree, but they definitely do work together. With that in mind, my guess is that the government, as in the UK government, would have to have cleared this content. So these on here, these videos, the government would have had to have cleared these. In fact, there's ex-government personnel involved and playing this war game scenario. So this would definitely have been cleared by a government representative before it was being published. And it was probably their idea in the first place, that being the government. And why? Because the government are drip feeding the nation, kind of preparing us for what is coming. Anyway, that's it. Moving on. Just get yourselves. I just wanted to highlight those 5 points because anyone who's still going through life at the moment or walking around the streets of the UK or Europe thinking that everything's fine, guys, your own governments are telling you, okay, the UK and NATO are on a war footing. EU warns 450 million Europeans to get themselves prepared. Yeah, we're having testing, the testing of the emergency alert message system. That's not for floods and fires, guys. Okay, so get that silly idea out of your heads. We've got the national security, the strategic defense review 2025. Read through that. Okay, it's telling you, and then also. Just have a listen to these 5 episodes, okay? Then come away from that. If you still think that it's all a load of rubbish, fine. That's it. Um, that's it. That's entirely up to you. Just get yourselves military fit or ordinarily fit, shall we say, and either infantry or conflict aware. Just keep an ear and an eye to the ground, guys, and just don't get caught out. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too much over 5 minutes.